So Laura, you've got this new initiative, and that's why we're here today. Talk about that. Can you tell me, first off, just a little bit more about what your thinking was in starting this?
Well, I'd been thinking, after Lantz passed away, which is hard to believe 6 years ago, coming up on 6 years, I knew I wanted to do something, some kind of legacy project, and a light bulb went off. That's really what Lantz was about. He was about service of his fellow man. That was his ethos. Outside of the courtroom, it was about serving his community and serving the people that he cared about. And so I went, what kind of project could we create that would really fulfill that vision that he had, that he cared about? And this is how we came up with the Brigade, or it's the Lantz Welch Citizens Brigade, but hopefully everybody's going to just pick up and call it the Brigade.
So Laura, tell us specifically how the grant works.
It will be a grant of $10,000 a year per year for 10 years for a total of $100,000 gift, with a vision and goal of getting the community involved in the development economically of this project, not just this hard stop at 10, but what could we create when we all pull our resources together? And that's a goal we have, is to hopefully build this to where we can even do bigger projects for the lake.
Yeah, so one of the things that always comes to mind when I think of Lantz is that Chinese proverb that says, you can give a man a fish and feed him for a day, or teach him to fish and feed him for life. I kind of feel like that's where you've gone with a lot of your giving. So I'm going to read your mission statement, okay, and then I'm going to ask you to sort of elaborate on some of the points here. The mission of the Lantz Brigade is to provide financial support to Weatherby Lake individuals and groups of all ages who will create, coordinate, and manage projects or programs that, and there's 4 points, I'm just going to stop at each one, and maybe you can just give me a little color on each one. Foster community engagement.
So we're looking for ideas to support in our grant, in the grant applications on volunteerism. Different programs that people could come up with, concepts that would create an environment for people to learn more about volunteerism, or being able to get involved with projects that will promote the community involvement to build volunteerism on the lake.
Perfect. So the second one actually feels like Lantz talking to us from above, and that's encourage civil discourse. I just love that. That's so Lantz.
Mm-hmm. I know something that concerned Lantz before he passed was the lack of being able to have healthy civil discourse, and he was observing it. And he was used to going to a courtroom, bringing his case, having the other side, and there'd be times that when I'd go to trial, I'd just hate the other guy. Right. And then they'd go out and have a drink after.
Right.
So that even though at the end of the day you and I might leave not agreeing, I will understand your position, and I can even bring compassion and respect to it. And from that place, we can quite often get to something that can meet both of our needs. This is going to be something that follows. So how can we really help each other in being the best we can be, from the micro of individual to the macro of a community?
I love that. It's time that we all start having more conversations, right? Instead of yelling at each other, right?
Exactly.
So promote selflessness. That's a good one.
We're all caught up in our phones and computers, right? And you can see what's happening in society as an outcome of that. It's fascinating that our young people, report that they're lonely. How could you be lonely when you have 500 likes or whatever? We need to figure out how we can take that phone away or the computer away and teach what selflessness is in service of others, because that is where we really find our fulfillment as human beings.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And then finally, the fourth one is strengthen leadership skills, and I particularly like that one. I think that's obviously a life lesson for whoever gets to be involved in this.
The two of us have taken a number of leadership programs, and, to develop our own personal skill sets. And one thing that I've always had every instructor tell me, we are all leaders. Every single one of us has something that we can lead and bring to the table. And quite often I think people think, oh, well, I'm not a leader. Well, what defines a leader? A leader is the person that is willing to put together a group of people to pick up 100 chairs and roll the tables and get them into a storage unit just as much as the person that's standing up in front of all those people speaking. It's all leadership. How do you bring your skills to the table? How do you learn what your skills are? And then how can you take those skills and use them for community activation and service?
That's great. That's a beautiful set of objectives. And then I'm going to read your vision statement here, which I love. We envision an even more vibrant, deeply connected, welcoming, and inclusive Weatherby Lake community that is a model beyond our city.
That was something that really spoke to me as we had the conversations about building this. Lantz was a big thinker, and I really, everything we did, I put him at the table sitting beside us in creating this, and he was a big thinker. And I know that he would want to create something that could be a model beyond what's just happening in our city. So if we do this well, if we all really participate at a level that we all bring our best selves to the table, because that's what Lantz always brought. He always brought his best self to the table. And so if we can do that, then we can create something that can really become a model in our city and possibly even beyond.
Okay, so beautiful vision. But I guess the big question is, how does one get his hands on that $10,000?
Well, we will be putting out in the newsletter, as well as website will be up and running on June 1st. And there will be all the information for applications that you'll fill out an application. You can either mail it or send it in, even video as well. And then the committee will get together and we will review all of the applications, and the grants will be awarded. You'll be able to find the URL in the newsletter that will be coming out for the June, July issue, and we'll have all the information provided.
Great. So Laura, can you give me an example of maybe the types of projects, or a type or two of project that you would envision funding?
I really care, and we care a lot about the education of our youth. Look at the impact that the sailing programs had on our community. It's profound. I mean, it's incredible. I think it's one of Lance's favorite things he ever did was be involved with you guys on the funding of the boats. And so, what if we did projects with kids on teaching them leadership, and they're actually doing something that will produce something for our parks, or some kind of art project where we have another event that can happen.
So if Lantz was sitting here right now, what would he say about this project?
I have to tell you, as this kept developing, I had such a peace, and I know that the peace was the feeling of knowing what he would think of this project. This is everything he believes in. It really is. He loved this community.
He did.
So much that I remember as he started aging, he said, I'm going out feet first of the castle.
Right.
And he loved this community. He loved fishing. He loved all his friends, the parties. And to know that the relationships that meant the most to him, that his legacy will impact those people and their families and that community, would, I know, it is the greatest thing I could have done for his legacy.
No doubt. No doubt. I'm just so glad you're doing this.
Thank you.
So how about you? What does it mean to you?
The first word that comes to mind is relief, and I think it's because I'm relieved that I found something that I could do at a level
Yes.
that honored him the way that he deserves to be honored.
Yeah, this certainly is. It is. It's Lantz. It's Lantz. It's you. I mean, the two of you have made such an impact on this community in so many ways. Having a longer-term vision, right? Doing what will just make the community better, and there's so many remnants of that around.
I think for me, I'm the most excited on my personal self is really around the fact that it's keeping me tied into the people I love too.